My name is Amanda Chafin. I work at the Lane Community Technology Center in Hamilton, Ohio, and today I'm going to walk you through the process of designing your own laser cut wound ornament with our Glowforge laser cutter. The first thing we're going to do is open up Inkscape. Inkscape is free software that lets you create and edit vector graphics. If you don't know what vector graphics are, don't worry, we'll go over it later in the video. For now, just go to inkscape.org. So open up whatever browser you want and go to inkscape.org. And you're going to go to this download tab here. You're going to get the current version for whichever operating system you have. I have a Mac, so I'm going to be using that as my software for today. So once you download and install that, you're going to open up the program. Just go ahead and open up Inkscape, and it's going to start to look a little bit like this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our document properties. To do that, you're going to press and hold Control, Shift, and D. Now if you're on a Mac like I am, it's Command, Shift, and D. So all of those three at the same time, that's going to pull up document properties, okay? Now once we do that, we're going to change our units here. I prefer to work in inches, so I'll change my display units to inches. That automatically changes my rulers up here. And I'm going to change my units for the actual size of the workspace. And now I'm going to change it to 4x4 because, as I said, I'm making a 4x4 ornament. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Snap. What that does, normally if snapping is enabled, if your object is close to a guideline or another object or an edge, it'll just boop, snap it right to it and make it real easy to line up. It's convenient for some things, but I don't find it convenient for this particular project. So I'm just going to turn that off. So I'm going to hit snap only when closer than, and I'm going to pull each of these all the way down to the bottom. Just like that. Okay? Good. Alright, so now we're going to just close out. And I need to make this a little bigger just so that I can see it. So I'm just going to zoom in. Now that we're all zoomed in, we're going to make sure we have a couple of menus up. Now this fill and stroke menu and this align and distribute menu, they might not be up immediately for you. So let me show you where to find those, okay? The first one is the align menu. It looks kind of like a little graph. It's over here on the right, here on the bottom. So if you just double click that, it'll pull that menu right up. And the next one is the fill and stroke menu. That's kind of like our paint menu. That's going to be right here. It looks like a little paintbrush on like a page, and that's also on the right side. So if you just go ahead and double click it, there you go, has your menus up. These are really useful little panes to work in, okay? Alright, once you have the workspace set up the way you want it, we're going to click on our circle tool because we're going to make a circular shaped ornament today. So it's over here on the left, so go ahead and click it. And now you're going to go over here to your workspace, hold down Shift and Control, and then click and drag to make a circle. Going to make it nice and round like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click our arrow tool here, and we're going to select our circle. We're going to go over here to our alignment menu, and see where it says page. We're going to keep it relative to the page here. That way we can center up our circle, and we're going to click center on vertical axis and then center on horizontal axis. So once we have this clicked, just center both of these and it's going to center it right up with our drawing. Now we can also change the width and the height. So we're going to click this little lock button here. This is going to maintain the aspect ratio, so we're going to have a perfect circle. And then we're going to change the width here. I'm going to do about 3.75 inches and then hit enter. And you see the height automatically was also changed because we locked them together. That's what that little lock button did. So now we're going to go back here. Let's go ahead and center align it. Good. So we have a nice ornament shape here in the middle of our workstation. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save. Always save. So just go to File, Save As, and then name it whatever you think you will remember. I'm going to save mine to the desktop, and I am going to name it Ornament. I know. Very creative, right? Went ahead and save that. Now we see we have this big black spot in the middle. Yours might be another color. That's not what we want. We want empty space to work with. So to do that, we go to over here to Fill in our Fill and Stroke menu, and we click this little X button here. Now, we also want a stroke. Now, that is an outline. That's the outer layer here. This is going to be a cut line for us later on, so we want to make sure that it's something nice and smooth for our laser to be able to follow. I like to just use this flat color here, and 255 on red, so it's just plain red. And then I go to Stroke Style. That's the next tab up here, Stroke Style. And I'm going to change this to 1 point. So there's changing it to points, and then here's 1. And that's going to give us a nice 1 point red stroke line for our laser to cut out. So that's great. Now we have the basic shape of our ornament ready. Okay, so we have an outline for our ornament here, but we kind of want a frame effect. We don't want just a solid edge. So to do that, we're going to click on our arrow tool, our selection tool here at the top. Make sure we have our circle selected. Now we're going to hold down Command D, or if you're on a Windows computer, it's Control D. That's just going to duplicate our little circle here. And we are going to fill that actually. That way we can tell it apart from the other circle. So let's go ahead and click it, fill it. So now, holding down again, Shift and Control, we're going to take one of our little corner arrow keys, click it and pull it down till we get a nice border shape. Alright, that looks like a good sized border that we have there, right? I like it. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go over here to, well, first we're going to select it. We're going to go over here to fill. It's fine to fill that with black. Let's turn off the stroke here. Alright. And now let's go ahead and select everything. So let's go to Command A or Control A to select everything on the screen. Then we're going to go to Path and Exclusion. And that's just going to cut a little hole right out of the center there of our shape. So now it's one path, and if we go to fill, you'll see it'll just fill in that exterior ring, because that's kind of what we're looking for in an ornament shape. We don't want to fill it, so let's close that. And let's make sure our stroke style is consistent. It is a little bigger than 1 point, so let's just make it 1 point. Alright, wonderful. So now we want to make a little eyelet at the top, so we have a place to hang our ornament. It's not hard to do that. We're just going to make another circle. Click our circle tool here, just like we did before. Hold down Shift and Control and make a nice little circle shape. That looks good. So now that we have that, let's pull this over toward our shape here. And remember our alignment tool. We can center align this. So we're going to Command A or Control A, select everything. And we're just going to hit this little button here and center it on the vertical axis. So there it is. It's all centered. And I'm going to click it, and I'm going to move it up. And all I'm doing to move it up is using my arrow key. My up arrow key, so that it is touching my ornament. Alright, so I have a nice little circle here, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine this shape with this shape. Just so we can see it a little better here, let's fill this. And let's turn off the stroke on both of these. Okay, and so let's click our top little eyelet here. Let's Command D or Control D to make another one, a new one. Alright, and let's change the color of it so that we can see it easily. So let's 255 red. And hold down Shift and Control, and again we're going to use our little corner arrow just to take it down a little bit so we have a nice little hole there for our string. Good. Excellent. So just like we did before, we're going to click that and also our larger eyelet circle there. And we're going to go to Path and Exclusion, and it's going to cut a little path right out there. So we have a nice little handle, nice little eyelet. I actually think I want to lower this a little bit. So let's lower that, and we can manipulate it however we want. So here I'm going to take this little bottom arrow, and I'm going to squash it just a bit so it's up. That looks nice. I like that. It's not quite round. It's got a little shape, a little dimension to it. That looks nice. So now we're going to combine this. This is our ornament, so we're going to go to Command A or Control A to select everything. We're going to go to Path and Union. And now this is all one shape. Okay, so we have our basic ornament shape. Good job. Now we want to add some trees. So for this, I went ahead and I opened up Chrome and I downloaded a free conifer tree shape from a website called CreateZilla. So let me show you what that looks like. That looks right here. It's CreateZilla, and they have free, and you can see it, this is in a public domain license. So they have a lot of free public domain objects here that you can use. So I just went ahead and I downloaded it, and that is what we're going to use today. Okay, so once you have this downloaded, we're going to go back to Inkscape, and we're going to go to File and Import. Okay, so we're just going to import. Now for me, this is in Christmas here, and you can see it's this pine tree silhouette clip art here, and I'm going to open it. Okay, here we want to make sure that you choose Smooth here under Optimize Quality, and just click OK. Alright, so here is our little tree. So remember when I told you I was going to explain the difference between a vector graphic and a raster graphic? Well, now is that time. So this is a raster graphic. If you look at the edges here, you can see that they're kind of blurry. That's because we imported a PNG file, and that information is stored in the computer not as a shape, but as pixels. Just like most of your photos, like what you would do in Photoshop, that kind of thing. But that's not really a smooth path for our laser to follow, so we need to convert it. So let's just go up here to Path, okay, and we're going to choose Trace Bitmap. Alright, and so now this little menu comes up, and I'm just going to pull this over here so it's a little easier for us to see it. Alright, excellent. So what we're going to do here is, the default will probably work fine, so let's hit Update. You can see a little preview here and Update. And we're going to choose Single Scan, Brightness Cutoff, and this threshold here, 0.45 is usually the standard, and I think that looks pretty good actually, gives us plenty of detail. So we are just going to stick with that, okay? And then we're going to hit the OK button. And you can see it finished because this Fill and Stroke menu came back up. So then you just close out here of your Trace Bitmap. And now you're like, well, where's my image? It's actually right here. It's just been copied right on top of your old one. So all you have to do is click and drag. All right, and now you can already see how crisp and clear these edges look compared to the old one? That's how you know that this is a vector graphic, okay? So we can get rid of that old raster graphic. Just click it and hit the delete key on your keyboard. And now is a really good time to save, so just Control or Command S to save. Let's go ahead and position our tree kind of where we want it on our ornament, okay? So we are just going to click it, and we are going to shift it wherever we want. I think it would look nice kind of on the edge here, kind of near the top for this edge. Yeah, that looks pretty good, right? Okay, yeah, I like that. So kind of make it touch the edge a little bit. Good, okay. So now we're going to do Command or Control D to duplicate. So that gives us a copy. And I'm going to move that over here to the other side. And now I'm going to make that a little lower over here. And you can adjust your size here. You can make this, so I'm going to make this one a little skinnier and a little shorter here on this side, okay? And now, again, you can Command D, and we're going to put one in the middle. Let's make that one a little taller here, and a little fatter. We can control where we put that. Let's move that one actually a little closer. And again, Command D, and we're going to make another one here. This one I think should be a skinny tree, so we're going to make it skinny. And we're going to pull that down here. Yeah, I think that looks cute. A cute little winter scene, right? I'm going to drag that one to where there's a little more space here. Alright, so I think it looks pretty good now, but I think I want to lower everything. So I'm actually going to just click on all my little trees, holding down the Shift button. That way I can click each of them. And then I'm going to just use my arrow keys. I'm going to nudge them down a little bit to where I think they look good. Okay, and I kind of want to put this little tree here on the side to where it's touching more, so I'm just going to click it, and I'm going to nudge it again to where I want it, and then I think I'm going to do the same thing over here with this little guy. I'm going to nudge him over. There we go. Alright, so once I've got the trees where I want them, I have a little bit of space up here. I think that's going to look really good. I'm actually going to lower these two trees because I want a little more negative space. There we go. Now yours can look different. Every ornament's going to look different. This is totally up to you, but I think I have a nice little forest happening here. Okay, so now it's time to combine all of our little trees here, okay? So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. Okay, so now we're just going to select each of our trees. So we're going to click on one of them here. And then hold down Shift, and we're going to click on each tree, okay? And we're going to go up to Path, and we're going to choose Path Union. So it should combine all of our trees. Now to make sure we got them all, I'm just going to hold those, pull that off here. Yep, see how we're not leaving anything behind? So we're going to undo what we just did. We're going to hit Command Z or Control Z, and it's going to pop our trees right back where they are. Alright, excellent. Good job. Now it's time to cut away the parts of the trees that hang out over the edge of our ornament. So to do this, we're going to want to be able to clearly see the outer edge of our ornament. So let's click on our ornament here. And now we're going to just change our fill color on it. So let's click it so it's selected. Change our fill color here, and we'll just do a red 255. There we go. So now we can see it nice and clear. Now the tool that we're going to need here is this Curves and Straight Lines tool. It looks kind of like a pen. So we're going to click that, and we're just going to click, and then we're going to keep clicking all around here, kind of the center roughly of our ornament until the trees don't touch it anymore. And then we're going to click outside. So what we're doing is we are drawing a border here. We're drawing a border around our trees to represent the area that we actually want to cut away. Alright, once we join it, you see that nice little border here, okay? And we are going to fill it, okay? So we're going to fill it. Doesn't matter what color we fill it with. And red is fine, doesn't matter. But we don't want to stroke it. So let's click Stroke and click the X here. And now we have a nice solid shape, okay? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to click on our selection tool. We're going to select our trees, and then we're going to select our funky little shape here. And we are going to choose Path and Difference. Ta-da! Now all that overhanging spot on the bottom of our ornament, that's all gone. We're just left with our nice trees and our nice ornaments. Alright, so our ornament is really starting to take shape. But we need to combine our trees with the rest of our ornament. So to do that, we're just going to hit Shift, and we're going to make sure that we select both the trees and the ornament here. So we're just going to hit Shift, and we're going to select both of these. Good. And then we're going to go to Path and Union. There we go. And now, if we change this from a fill to a stroke, just like that, and we can give it a nice little red color. So this is going to be our cut line. And we change our stroke style so that it's all one point. We can really see a shape that our laser is going to cut. Looks pretty nice, right? Alright, so we will add text and a few other items later, but if you're enjoying this video, now's a good time to pause to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, or share this video with your friends on Facebook or other social media accounts. It really helps us to get the word out there about all the cool things that the library has to offer, and we'd really appreciate it. So thanks! So our design is looking pretty nice, but what do we do if we want to add some text? So let's just click on our little text tool here. It looks like little A here on the left side. And then click anywhere on our design. And let's write whatever you want to write. So for me, I'm going to write, all right, the Christmas ornament. I'm going to write Chapin Christmas 2020. So now what we can do is we can alter this text. So we're going to choose here. Let's choose, so you click up here, so you can choose whatever kind of script you want, whatever you think would look cute for your ornament. Let's try a brush script, see what a brush script looks like. Does that look cute? You know, maybe let's just go with Times New Roman. I actually like that. Alright, so I'm going to stick with that. And let's make it a little smaller here. So we can change our font size up here too, again at the top. So I'm going to change that down to a 16. Good, okay, so it's already starting to take shape, right? Speaking of shape, now is the time to curve our text. Now, curving our text is going to be a little hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a brand new circle. So we're going to hit our circle tool here. We're just going to make a circle, just like we did before. Holding down Shift Control, make a circle. Alright. And let's click our selection tool here. And now let's decide how tall or how large we want to make it. We're going to make it the same size as our regular one. 3.75, okay? And now we're actually going to stroke that with a different color so that we can see it a little easier. So let's actually do blue 255. So that should stand out nice, right? Okay. So now let's click our ornament and our brand new shape here, and let's just center align both of these. Clicking this vertical, and there we go. Excellent. So these are both centered on our page. So now let's just click on our new line here, okay? And we're just going to nudge it down till it kind of matches. Alright, good. So now, holding down Shift and Control, we're going to take our little arrow and we're going to make this a little smaller so it roughly matches the border, this interior part here. The border of the interior part of our ornament. Good. Excellent. So now what we're going to do, with that still selected, we're going to hold down Shift and we're going to choose our text. Alright, and we're going to go to Text, and we're going to do Text Put on Path. Alright, so now that's on a path. It's circular. That looks kind of nice, but it's sort of upside down. We want it to go the other way. So to do that, we're going to just click on our text, and we're going to click on our circle, and we're going to click right up here, this little arrow, flip selected objects horizontally. Alright. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to just sort of position it a little better. So we're going to select our text, and we're going to select our circle. We're just going to go up here, and we're going to go to Object, and then Group. So now we can move these objects together. So if we double click it, so we clicked it once, and if we double click it, you see these arrows change. So now this is going to let us actually rotate it all as one object. So we can get this Christmas greeting here at the bottom. So once we have that roughly where we want it, now we can click on that and we can ungroup because we don't need that new circle anymore. That was just a guide. So we're going to go to Object, Ungroup. Alright, and we're going to select our little text here. And we're going to go to Path and Object to Path. Now that's going to kind of finalize where our text is. It's going to cement that text in that arc shape, okay? So now that we have that, we're just going to click on our regular circle and we're going to delete it. And you can see that our text has retained its shape. So now we're going to Control A or Command A, select everything, and let's just center it up, okay? So now what we're going to do is we are going to nudge. And when I say nudge, I mean you're going to click on it and then use your arrow keys. So I'm just going to nudge that down a little bit. And I think I'm going to pull it out a little closer to my edges. There. I think that looks pretty cute actually. Let's raise it a little bit, and then let's also make it a little taller. I think that looks cute. Okay, so now we have our text and we have our ornament. So at this point you can be done if you want. I want to add a few extra details. You can add whatever you want using all the same techniques. So for me, I want to add a moon. So again, I'm going to go to File here, and then I'm going to Import, and I'm going to add, let's see, there's just a little moon there. I'm just going to open that moon. Hit OK there. And in this case, the moon is an SVG file. That's a standard vector graphic. So I'm just going to make sure it's connected here, right up there. Everything has to be touching your frame, okay? And now I'm going to make some stars. So I'm going to hit the star key. I'm going to do 4 corner. Yeah, that looks cute. So I'll just do some little 4 corner stars here. Adorable. Alright, let's actually fill those instead of stroke. Alright, and then I'm just going to make a cute little star. And then click Command D or Control D to duplicate. And then you can just click them to change them however you want. The important part is that they're connected, okay? So let's just fast forward here through me making a few more stars. Alright, so once that looks the way you want, you're just going to select all of these. And we're going to go to Path and Union. So now that's all one path. Now let's go to our ornament here. And let's turn off our stroke. And then let's go to Fill. Let's turn it on Fill here. Colors don't matter. So we're just going to select our ornament. And we're going to select our moon and our stars, and we're going to hit Path and Union. So now, this is all one object. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go to Fill here. We're going to turn off the fill. We're going to turn on the stroke. Now what you're going to want to do is save your work, turn on the Glowforge, and load it with your material. Now it's time to open up the Glowforge app. Now the way you get to the Glowforge app, it's actually a web app, so it's online. So you're going to open up your web browser and you're going to type in app.glowforge.com. If you are here at the Tech Center, we will sign you in with our own account here. If you do not have a Glowforge of your own, we will have to put you in with our account. If you do have a Glowforge of your own, you should have your own account. So we're just going to sign in with our account here. Everyone's dashboard will look a little different. It has a lot of different recent projects on it, right? So I'm going to hit Create. And we're going to do upload from a file. And I'm going to take my ornament SVG, and I'm just going to click open. And you'll see it's processing down here. It's going to take a minute to do all the complicated math necessary to render our design. And you can see I already put a board here, and this board is pre-painted with this little grayish white color. So I'm going to take that, and I can move my image here, and I'm going to just move it over here onto a bit of paint. Now, here where it says unknown, I'm going to choose my material type. The closest to what I'm using is medium basswood plywood, so I'm going to select that. For my engraving options, I'm just going to choose a draft graphic, and that is just for the text, okay? You can see what the settings are going to be here just by clicking the arrow. I find that draft graphic works really well for just plain text. And then for the cut, my boards have been a little warped, so I'm actually going to change this. I'm going to use this proof grade cut. This is what is standard if you're using Glowforge's materials. However, we are not. I'm using something different. So we're going to have to edit a little bit. So I'm actually going to lie here. I'm going to tell it that it is 0.1 inches for the focus height. That's the only thing I'm going to change. That should get me to cut completely through without any problems, despite the little bit of warping that I have on the boards. Okay, so once I have that, the next step is you're going to hit this More button, and you're going to choose Set Focus. And that is exactly what you think. It's just like setting the focus on your camera. We're going to set this on roughly the center of our design here. And you can see up here in the corner, it's focusing. It is thinking about it. Sometimes this can take quite a while. Alright, and when it's ready, you make sure everything still is lining up correctly. And it is, and then you're just going to hit print. And it's going to calculate the precision movements that are necessary to cut your design. And then you're just going to go hit the button on the Glowforge machine. Now it's up to the Glowforge to etch, score, and cut your design. And that's it. Now you have a nice ornament to add to your tree. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to add them to the comment section below.